Hi, my name is Dr. Kelly Moore, and I am a licensed clinical psychologist in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. I spent a great deal of my 17-year career in mental health treating youth and adults impacted by trauma, anxiety, and grief. In 2015 and since then, I've had to summon all the things that I've learned and taught to countless clients over the years when my mom passed away on my birthday after a battle with cancer. What I'd known before then, but I really know now, is that even though grief is an emotion that everyone will ultimately experience, the way it impacts us is based on a number of factors, including our identities and everything that comes with them. Your experience of grief may depend on your gender, your race, your religious beliefs, and so much more. For example, me being a woman who was also a mother at the time my mother died kicked up a lot of fears about how much time I had left with my own children. In that case, my identity as a woman and a mother were part of my challenges. But it can be other things too. For example, a lot of religious institutions carry beliefs that one should rely on a higher power to cope. And that translates into having numerous platitudes thrown your way, like, God doesn't give you more than you can bear, or they're in a better place now, all with the intention to help you feel better and move past whatever you've just experienced. But the way that that can be received by someone that's grieving is that somehow they may not be as strong or as faithful or as connected to that higher power because maybe they're having more trouble with it, especially in those days and weeks after the loss. So, who you are and all the pieces of it play a big role in how you walk your grieving journey. And it should also play a little bit of a role in how you decide how to seek out supports. Grief support services are really helpful, and you may want to have support people that have identities that match your own. In part because you don't want to have to be explaining all these aspects of your identity at a support group meeting or at a counseling session. You want to be able to get to the reason why you're there, and having to do all that explaining can get in the way of that. So, at the very least, having support people that represent at least one or more of your identities could make all the difference in feeling really supported and understood. And that person or people may be able to also offer you coping strategies that are aligned with how you identify yourself. The experience of grief can also be really challenging because even though there's theories out there about universal stages of grief and such, the truth is that all of our experiences are so unique from each other. In fact, the only thing that's similar about them, and sometimes this can actually make people feel like they're not alone, is that everyone's walking some version of that journey alongside of each other, even though they're very unique. So I just want to leave you with 4 points to keep in mind. One is that there's no right amount of time and you don't get over the loss of someone that you love. There may be days when all you can do is think about your loss and how upset you are, and there may be days where you're starting to feel like yourself again, and then that can feel a little bit weird. That will happen throughout your life again and again, and it's all okay. The second thing is that there is power in the words we use, especially that self-talk that we do to ourselves every day. Keep in mind when you say things like good days and bad days that somehow you're kind of assigning a judgment to that. So I've gotten away from using those terms and instead say things like today was an easy day or today was a challenging day. Not to lighten the experience, but it was and is to remind myself and now the clients I serve to think about these tougher days as days that are expected. And when they do happen, we shouldn't feel like somehow it's a bad thing. It's just part of the grieving process. And being able to get accustomed to that ebb and flow helps to build our resiliency so that we can cope better when those tough days do happen. Thirdly, use your faith, but in a way that works with you. There are religious routines and beliefs and rules, but there's also spirituality and faith. And sometimes those things are closely aligned, but sometimes they might not be. And so don't allow the rules of your religious faith get in the way of how you grieve. You don't have to put on a happy face for anyone. Find people that are comfortable sitting with you, even when you're dealing with stressful, difficult, challenging emotions. Those are the people you really need in your corner, and don't feel that you have to push yourself to put on a happy face for other people to somehow demonstrate how strong you are. And lastly, ask for help. There's this great book I read back in 2019, not too long ago, but feels like a long time ago now, by Charlie Mackesy. And in the book, one of the characters asks another, "What's the bravest thing you've ever done?" And the character responds by saying, "Ask for help." You don't have to walk this journey by yourself. Forget everything that you've ever heard or read or embraced about mental health issues or therapy. Make that phone call. Do it as quickly as possible when you've experienced a loss, because this will help you get out in front of it. You are experiencing a major shift in your life when you experience a loss. And so having support is critical to walking that journey with your resiliency firmly in your hand so you can withstand those tougher days. So I wish you all the best, and finally ask that you will just grant yourself grace and be kind to yourself as you walk through your grieving journey. And just remember, everyone's different and you're not doing it wrong. You're just going through and doing what you need to do to make it through day by day. Thank you so much for listening, and take care.